Hello.
Hi, Mellisa.
Hi there.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
It's wonderful to talk to you.
Thank you.
It's kind of, for me, it's kind of an honor because I have been a fan of yours ever since Clarissa, and I enjoyed Clarissa, I enjoyed Sabrina, and my girlfriend and I enjoy the new sitcom as well.
Oh, good. Thank you.
And new season's coming out, and
Yep.
I realize this is your first show with the studio audience, correct?
It is. I did Clarissa in Orlando for 4 years without an audience, and then we actually modeled Sabrina's schedule after Clarissa's schedule, so for 7 years, again, no audience, and now this is my first time with a live studio audience for Mellisa and Joey.
What's the difference of performing in front of an audience versus when you were doing the other shows?
It's a little bit more like theater. We have to prepare all week to make sure we know the show very well so that we can just go through it. But of course, you know, the nerves in the beginning were really, really intense for me. But after coming off Dancing with the Stars, I was like, this is easy. I know how to do this acting thing. It's not like getting up there and dancing. But it's a little intense. You know, you get the adrenaline going. But, you know, once you mess up the first time, you're kind of like, oh, okay, that's, you know, the audience actually likes to see you mess up. That's why they're there. You know, if they watched it on TV, they'd see it perfect. But if they're there in the audience, they get to see it, you know, not so perfect. So I think they like those moments. So I've learned to enjoy those.
Any major changes this season?
Yeah, we've got some great guest stars coming up. We launched June 29th on ABC Family again. And, you know, we're just, the show is a little bit racier and a little bit more wild, as I think a lot of people would expect, being on ABC Family. But we have some great guest stars like Vivica Fox and John Ratzenberger, who you know from Cheers and all the Pixar movies, of course. And we have really funny Leslie Grossman comes on. We have some really edgy episodes, some real fun that you know that I hope everyone will check out.
What part of working with Joey do you love the most?
You know, he's such a pro. Like, we've just known each other so long. We have such a great chemistry together, on screen and off screen. We just we have the same priorities. You know, we both have little kids at home. We have such parallel lives, but we just have this work ethic that we want to go to work, we want to have fun at work, and we want to go home to our families. So, you know, we work hard and we play hard.
This being your third sitcom, obviously, there were lessons that you learned doing shows in the past. What were some of those lessons that you learned when you started doing Mellisa and Joey?
You know, Mellisa and Joey was, one of the challenges for me was the audience, you know, getting over the fear and just being able to do what I do. You know, I did comedy for so long in front of only a crew where I felt safe and I didn't feel like I had to play out to them, that it would be caught on camera. But with an audience, like, I want to make them laugh, so I feel like I have to be bigger, but so I can't be bigger. So, you know, that's a challenge for me for sure. But, you know, the character is really great. I really enjoyed playing Clarissa, I have to say. That was an amazing character to play. The show itself was very difficult for me because I was in high school at the same time. Sabrina was a really fun show to do, but I wasn't so crazy about the character. She just seemed not as much like me. She was a little bit more timid, a little bit more wanting to be normal, whereas I'm a little bit more of a loudmouth. I tend to, you know, be a little sillier. So playing Mel on Mellisa and Joey is really fun because I get to be sort of an exaggerated version of myself, a girl who's very flawed, a girl who's very, you know, struggling to find the right answers, but not looking too hard for them. Just sort of someone that's sort of scatterbrained and silly, but she's also very likable, I think. So it's been a real joy to play her.
Are you surprised how much Clarissa is in the mindset and pop culture of, I guess I shouldn't say today's, you know, the youth, but basically people like me, because I remember spending my Saturday nights watching that. Yeah,
it's really funny. I think a lot of people don't expect other people to remember Clarissa. Like, everyone thinks it's their own little thing. So when they see me on the street or whatnot, they'll always say, I remember you from Clarissa. Like, I think they think people only know me from Sabrina. So it becomes this little, like, wink-wink thing. But I get it so much now that I'm like, wow, this is really like a little cult hit. And it's actually coming back on Nickelodeon in the fall.
How many men come up to you and say that Clarissa and or Sabrina was their first crush?
Actually, I had someone on the street last night while walking back to my hotel after dinner come up to me and say, I'm taking a picture with my childhood crush. And I was like, oh, that's so sweet. It was fun. So that's my most recent experience with it. But yeah, I guess it happens once in a while. It's so flattering. I mean, everybody. Yesterday there was a woman who told me that she wanted to take her heart out and give it to me because she was so excited to meet me, and I was like,
Aww.
it was one of the most sweet things I've ever heard. So I'm very lucky. I have really sweet fans around the world.
Well, I always love, both shows. I mean, I love Sabrina just because it always seemed like you guys were having fun.
Yeah.
And whenever actors are having fun on a show, it comes off on screen, and it just seems like a show that is fun, and
Absolutely. It was. We had a great time. We had the same crew for 7 years. We really had a blast, and I think, like you said, it showed on camera, and it was just it was a bit of a challenge at first to figure out how to do all the effects and the cat and everything that went into it. But once we figured it out, it was just smooth sailing, and we were able to just have a blast with it, and we really kept it in house with directors and whatnot. Like, I directed a lot of them, and our producers and other co-stars or guest stars directed a lot of them. So. We really had a tight crew, and we had a lot of fun.
And then with Clarissa, the thing I just loved the most was how independent she was, and how she knew who she was, and she just had a really good identity of herself.
She was a very strong girl.
With that.
Yeah, she was a really strong girl. It was the first time on television that boys would watch a girl as the lead, and that was what everyone was afraid of, and it became this thing that where the networks all realized because of the success of Clarissa that boys will watch a girl as the lead. So that was really exciting.
Well, Mellisa, it's been very wonderful to speak with you today. But before I go, I always ask one last question, and that is, you have worked on so many different projects throughout your career, and sometimes there's one that doesn't get for some reason or another, enough people don't get exposed to it, and you put a lot of effort into it. Is there one particular project that you wish more people had seen because of how much you had worked on it?
There is, but before I say that, I'd like to tell you about this Beach Nut program that I'm working on right now called Jar for Jar. If you go to facebook.com/beachnut, you can share a virtual jar of baby food, and it'll help combat hunger in the U.S. right now. Every virtual jar that's sent on Facebook, Beach Nut will actually donate a jar to feed the children, and they're hoping to get over 1 million jars. So I hope all your listeners today will actually go on Facebook and try to help us get that number up there. But to answer your question, one of the projects I worked very hard on that my mother and I produced, that was a lot of fun and really interesting project, was this little movie we did called 9 Dead, and you can get it on DVD.
Wonderful. Mellisa, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Bye-bye.